Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order with a statement of proper notice. Notice of this meeting has been posted on the municipal bulletin board and forwarded to the Hopewell Valley News, the Trentonian, and the Hopewell Express on January 6th, 2025, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski
Is coming.
Committee Member Purandare is coming. And Committee Member Ritter.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chait.
Here.
And Mayor Peters Manning.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And tonight we'll start with a presentation by the ARC Mercer, so I would invite them to come on up.
Well, first off, Mayor, congratulations. That was very, very efficient to start right on time and get this moving. So, my name is Steve Cook, and I'm the Executive Director at the ARC of Mercer. We're returning here tonight to give kind of a formal update of our projects that we talked about a few months ago regarding the ARC Mercer's programs that we're developing in Hopewell Township. With that being said, tonight is more, I believe, of an informational update for the Township Committee. We, over the last several months after the opportunity to speak with the community, had some really, what I think are fantastic interactions, both with the mayor and the administration regarding questions and issues moving forward with the project, but also with the local residents. So we agreed to have two groups form. One group primarily focused a little bit more on the Fox Run group home development side, and the other is more of the farming operation. So we had two meetings at the ARC Mercer for each group. And so some of this information will be redundant for them, but we wanted it to be an opportunity where they could ask us questions at that point. So this is more geared towards just updating the Township Committee on where the project is. So with that being said, some of these may be out of order, so I may be jumping back and forth. But I think the first thing I'd like to say, other than thank you for all the support, and especially for the community members coming out to talk to us about this, this is something we feel we've made a lot of progress on hearing what the community had as feedback and trying to incorporate it into the project. So just to recap, the project involved two parcels of preserved farmland. To the right on the screen is the smaller parcel known as the Wirt Farm, about 32 acres. And on that property, we had the two colored boxes which represent existing residences that the ARC Mercer had secured, as well as that are adjacent to the farm, as well as on the farm. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a blue box where the proposed 2-acre residential building spaces that was preserved when the land was preserved as farmland. And then on the larger parcel, about 92 acres, there's a 2-acre area that's that blue box that's reserved for also a residential spot. So those 4 residential sites were presented a few months ago. The project is still exactly the same. It has 4 residential sites with up to 6-bedroom residential single-family homes. 2 of them are existing that would be rehabilitated, and 2 would be ground-up construction. In addition, on the smaller farm, closer on Mine Road, almost in the middle off of 31, there's a 1-acre preserve for a farm stand. Those preserves were set up when the land was preserved as farmland preservation. So they're what we inherited when we purchased the property. So, as I said, nothing's really changed with respect to the outline, but we did want to give an update on, I hope. Not changing? It worked the first time. Okay. So most of our efforts focused on what we were doing with the smaller Wirt Farm property. So to give you a perspective, the Mine Road is at the bottom, 31 is on the right, and then the property that goes up the Fox Run is on the left where it says group home. So that group home location is the current Fox Run property, and then the farm stand is kind of in the middle. I'm not seeing it. Sorry, my glasses don't really work that far. In the middle and the bottom part should say farm stand, and that's where the 1 acre preserve for the farm stand is. Exactly the same as before. Some of the things that are on here, thank you. Yes, some of the things that are reflected on this presentation that we just wanted to highlight is that over the next year or so, we are working on developing the property with the farming program that we discussed before, and with the lower portion over top of the farm stand, you see where it says greenhouses. Those would be a couple of greenhouses that would be used for people with special needs to be able to do seedlings and learn basic farming skills. And right next to it, to the left, is the U-pick field. So that area would be dedicated as the first area that we would take back from the current corn farming operation. So you can see where it says cornfields. Bill the farmer, Bill Wagner, will continue to farm it for a while, as well as the other farm. And so that will remain as cornfields. But you'll see the area up front by the farm stand over going down to the left. That area there is the area we're designating for developing the U-pick farming. So people with special needs, including the 24 who will live on the properties that we're developing, will come over, learn skills of planting, and actually, hopefully, the U-pick, they'll help pick some of it. It'll be part of the farm stand. As far as farming operations, all the way on the middle upper side, you'll see beehives. So currently on the property, there are active beehives. Yasmin, who's our vice chair of beehive committee for New Jersey or something, just has incredible credentials. She's worked with the farmers market in Burlington and been active in the beehive community. Has already developed some active beehives, and my understanding is the honey is quite high quality, right? Yeah, and so hopefully we'll be producing some honey and sharing it with the neighbors through the farm stand soon. To the right of that, that's that 2 acre preserve where you'll see the residential group home, and I'll show you a slide of what that single family home with the 6 bedrooms will look like in a bit. But on that area there will also be a chicken coop. We know no roosters, right, Mayor? Right. But definitely looking to actually develop an egg production program that will provide eggs to all of our other group homes in Mercer County. We have 24 of them, and our cafe, that's a food training cafe in Ewing. So this is really an interesting, sustainable program we're looking to put in. We're actually, the corn that's grown there is corn feed, and so our consumers will actually secure from Bill Wagner a couple acres of actual feed that will be used for the chickens, which will then be used for the eggs, and I just think it's an incredible, sustainable thing that people with special needs are actually engaging in. So we're really trying to think through, and Yaz has done a fantastic job laying out the outline of this. One of the things that I also wanted to point out, the road that goes up to the group home in the back goes up through the middle of the property. That's an existing road. If you go about halfway up, you see a road coming off to the left. Now, when it comes to the use of this property, the Mercer County Agricultural Board has jurisdiction on the farm, the property, everything that we do. The township has jurisdiction over the construction of the buildings and certain parts of it. But when it comes to things like that road, that is an agricultural use. And why that's important to say is we are building a project that will incorporate folks who live on the Fox Run property, that we wanted to make sure would have access to the agricultural programs without having to drive all the way around Fox Run, that they can go directly in, maybe not even drive, be able to walk. And so that road is proposed both for agricultural use around the U-pick program. access to that property, but also, if you look aside from that access road to the left, it says cistern. So the Ark Mercer is proposing a cistern to go onto that property. We're financing it. It is, all intents and purposes, generally an agricultural cistern. So one of the reasons why we wanted to do that is water is an issue in that area. So we want to be sensitive of how we collect water and use it in our drip irrigation. So we've really thought about water and stuff. But one of the things that I really want to applaud Township of Hopewell. Your police department, your fire department, your emergency services are fantastic. We deal with all the different townships and their law enforcement and their fire departments, and they've got nothing on Hopewell. I'm not saying they're not great, but we've met with the fire chief and the police chief. What a progressive group of leaders in their field. And so it was mentioned, hey, if you're thinking about cisterns, if you could at least make it compatible with the fire department, hookups, being able to go into and have a truck parked next to it. These are not, we hope, we've talked to the agriculture department, we made it clear this is agricultural use, but that road, we want to make sure we think about all possible accommodations with that cistern for the fire department to be able to have access. Number one, we think it's important to protect the agricultural assets with water because there's no water up there. But we also, as ARC, wanted this to be a contribution to the community and make sure that if that cistern can be compatible with both the agricultural requirements and the fire department's ability to access that water for any neighbor. So it's not just the Ark Mercer that, that road could get them on the Fox Run in no time, or out and be able to make a U-turn and come back out and provide the whole region, within the appropriate parameters, some water. So we have been in communication with the fire chief and the fire marshal. I believe that's exactly what it is. And they have been fantastic with just understanding what our limitations are, but making sure that we are trying to build something that will be a resource for the whole community. And so this is something that the Ark Mercer wanted to do just, as not just agriculture, but a community investment. So hopefully that all comes together. The agriculture board really makes those decisions. The fire department really helps us, but I want to say thank you to the elected officials and the mayor especially for recognizing this was something we wanted to do and at least introducing us to the right people and being very encouraging about it. But I know it's not your decision. It's the agriculture board, but we've really learned how to try to get this done. So thank you for all of you for doing it, but Mayor, thank you for that.
Thank you for doing that. That water is a problem for fire suppression in the whole northern part of the township. So this cistern, if the agricultural cistern that would also have a secondary use, would be a huge benefit to the whole township, the whole northern part of the township. So.
And as that road works, we are talking to the police department and fire department. I think one of the things that we did talk about are 911 calls. We do recognize that Fox Run is a more narrow road. So we're hoping that that can be accommodating for that without impacting any agricultural use, but remove some of the need for any kind of emergent traffic to go through there.
And
it's the fire department's
how many
problem.
gallons will be in that cistern?
Good question. We don't know yet. I will be very clear. We have not had our agricultural plans. We've had our engineer and our architect and our land use people, water people. They've already started laying this out. So I'm not telling you something they have not said is doable and how to get it approved. We just have not gotten to the point of figuring out what this is going to cost. So the fire department said optimal is 50,000. We're looking between 30 and 40 and 50,000 depending on the cost. So we are a nonprofit. This isn't a building project where we're going to make money out of it. So we're going to make the investment and we're going to do as much as we can, but we're hoping 30,000 minimum, and if possible, the township's fire department's request of up to 50,000.
So is there a reason that the cistern is located at that location on the property as opposed to somewhere that might be more accessible for fire?
That location was primarily because it had to run along the agricultural use. So if we located it somewhere else and said this road is for the cistern, then it wouldn't be an agricultural use, and we're not sure that that would be approvable by,
Okay.
by agriculture. So this was kind of we know this is agricultural use for water, and we know it's agricultural use for the road and a benefit to the Fox Run folks. The fact that it could have other uses like the cistern and fire department are more kind of thoughtful planning and input. So we could look into that, but I would probably say that might run into afoul of some of the agricultural
Yeah,
requirements.
I mean, I'm certainly not second guessing anything. I was just curious about
Yeah.
the location, so that makes sense. Thank you.
And we are working with the fire marshal and the fire chief on the design parameters of what would be a reinforced road for them so that when they park to pump the water and everything. So we're looking at that as well as the connections. So it should be functional and with a turnaround for them to get out, but I think the impact would be more to our operations than the community when they turn around and come out. So we're really, if flip through some of the things, just unless the committee had any questions on.
Oh, great. Next slide, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll go through these real quick because that was the big one. This is a sample of a home that it would look like. This is a 6-bedroom property in Lawrence. It's called our Alice House, named after our matriarch of our organization. The floor plan shows you the basic layout, about 2,700 square feet. These are specially designed for people with special needs to be able to live with a lot of space within the home, and of course, land around it is good too. So next slide. And that's a bigger version of what I just showed you. Guess we can go to the next one. So this is kind of an example of the farm stand. This is not the exact farm stand, but this is part of our presentation before. So you understand, we're not building a retail business. We are building a farm stand that would support the honey, the eggs, the chicken, the U-pick for people to come in. But the U-pick system is being set up around people with special needs, mostly who live there, but some in vocational programs that might come from Hopewell School for the special needs to come over and learn some of the skills, but also from our program. But you know, it's not being designed for a large program. It's designed for 6 or 8 or 10 people at a time to come over and experience it so that they actually get training. So it's not you're not going to see buses and things going in and out of there at all. It won't be designed. So it'll be a respectable farm stand. We are looking to make sure we can put running water in there. Our folks need a lot of medicine, you know, through the course of a day. So being able to have water and a bathroom for people with special needs and accommodations. We have to work with our architect and engineer to figure out how to do that, but that's just something for, you know, accommodation for the special needs. So. I thought there was more on there, but that if that's it, well then that's good. So bottom line, to recap, Mayor, nothing has really changed with respect to what we proposed originally. The advancement is that we worked with our engineer and land use people with the township and learned what we have to do for approvals. And for this, it's a little different because it's farmland preserve. Different bodies have approval over certain parts of it, and the township, of course, on other parts. But we are very, very excited about working with the fire department and the police department, both on crisis calls and most importantly, with the cistern to try to pay that back as a community resource for everybody. And we are, and I know this is public record, but you can stop me if you want on the affordable housing, but
It's all public. Our plan is passed
public.
and yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things that we mentioned months ago and the mayor picked up on is that when these properties are built in the affordable housing, for the most part, affordable housing is 1 credit per house. In the special needs world, it's 1 credit per bedroom, which means our 4 single-family homes actually count for 24 credits. In the round that just passed, special needs is very encouraged, and so you get double credits as an opportunity. So potentially, this could look like 48 houses being built somewhere else, not being needed because of the relationship for affordable housing. We're requesting resources with it, but that's a conversation, you know, that we work out with every town to help us with the project. But for the most part, I think it becomes a win-win for the community to be able to have this type of affordable housing, and it actually has a smaller footprint of impact on the community. And to be clear, every single resident that we serve is not school age. Not a single one of our residents go to any public school whatsoever. They're all adults. So there's no impact on that. The impact would be fire service or police service. And number one, I think your team for public safety is amazing, and we're looking forward to that. But we're also trying to pay it back a little bit, for what impact we would have.
I couldn't agree more that both our fire department and our police department are the best in the state, so I tell them that all the time. So I'm glad that you recognize that also.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any questions for the
I have a
committee?
quick question.
From the committee, yes.
Yeah. You mentioned that you have existing houses there, and the current houses are adequate for the special needs, or what kind of expansion or 6-bedroom are they existing, or do we need to add in something there?
Great question. So on the first map, the 1 2-acre space on a 92-acre farm is open space, and that'll be built almost identical to the house we showed you, and definitely the floor plan. On the smaller Wirt farm, the 2-acre preserve from the farmland preservation would also be that same design. The Fox Run house is a very nice big house. I think it's got 5 bedrooms, and we need to add a 6th one to bring that up to 6 bedrooms. That would be a renovation, but the exterior of the house would look pretty close to what it is now, and we'll work with the neighbors. We did commit with that work group. We would show them what we're doing for lighting, fencing, and all that stuff. But that should be a renovation of that. The other house is a very small house. There's a high probability that that would be torn down or modified to be a space for maybe supporting a farm or something. And then a third 6-bedroom house would be constructed there.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from the committee?
So 2 questions. One, you said that the residents will be adults. Do you mean over 21?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And what is your timeline?
So at this point, we're still securing funding. We have had conversations with the county on maybe some potential funding, and of course, affordable housing would be a consideration. But barring that, we would space the development of the properties. So the first thing we would do would be putting in that access road and a cistern to support the redevelopment of Fox Run. That could be 6 to 8 months from now that we might start that process. And then following that would be the open lot on Wirt Farm. And then we might move to the larger farm only because the smaller house would require demolition and stuff. So probably all 4 projects would be over a 2-year period. And you might see something happening, within 8 months on the access road to Fox Run and the rehab of Fox Run.
All right, thank you, and thank you for coming here this evening and providing the update.
We appreciate the opportunity, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, so Ms. Burkhead, just a question for myself, but also for the public. We've gotten an overview of the project, but what planning board or other approvals would need to take place before this would move forward?
I would assume that I'm sorry. Councilman, I would assume that there would be some type of site plan approval that would need to take place before the planning board. The other consideration I would have to look into is the access road, whether or not that impervious coverage would need some type of stormwater management. Most farm uses are exempt from stormwater, but because this is going to be a very mixed use, I would need to look into the details of that to see if it would have any impact.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to tell the members of the public who are on Zoom, I will ask the ARC to stay for the public comment section, so you can put your hand down for now. We have a few other items of business we have to go through before we get to the public comment section, but then we'll have an opportunity if you all would stay, and then maybe if we have questions, you can answer them at that point. Unless there's anything else from the committee? Okay, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time tonight, and I appreciate your continued coordination with the neighbors and communication with the neighbors. That's really important, and I appreciate it. So we just have a few things, and then we will get to the public comment section. So before we do that, we have some proclamations tonight. The first one is for Patriot Day, September 11th, 2025, and we'll start with Mr. Ruger.
Whereas 24 years ago today, our nation watched in horror as 4 commercial airliners were hijacked and directed toward major American institutions, including the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. And
whereas, as a result, nearly 3,000 men, women, and children lost their lives that day, and countless other families and loved ones felt and continue to feel the lasting impact of this tragedy. And
Whereas in the aftermath of one of the worst terrorist attacks in our history, we proved that love is stronger than hate. As our military, law enforcement officers, firefighters, first responders, and other emergency personnel showed true heroism and selfless courage for the safety of others. And
whereas this tragedy will always serve as a reminder of the strength, resilience, and compassion we possess in the face of devastating loss, and whereas on this day we should honor those who lost their lives and those who sacrificed their lives for others, including the men and women who showed bravery in responding to the attack and aiding the victims, and
whereas we should pay tribute to their lives with service and charity towards others and ensure that our state and nation are just and inclusive places for all. Now, therefore, I, Courtney Peters Manning, Mayor of Hopewell Township, do hereby proclaim September 11th, 2025 as Patriot Day in Hopewell Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, and urge all citizens to take a moment to commemorate the lives we lost and do our part to continue to carry forward the ideals of liberty, equality, and justice. Thank you. And on September 11th, which is Thursday, we will, a piece of the World Trade Center is being moved from its current location in the Mercer County Library Hopewell branch to Hopewell Borough Hall. I believe it will arrive around 9:15 to Borough Hall, so there's more information online if anyone would like to join us for that. We had the Hopewell Valley Veterans Association did a beautiful ceremony on Saturday, which they do every year, so I appreciate all that they do to make sure we never forget. The next proclamation is a proclamation of the Township of Hopewell to recognize September 15th, 2025 through October 15th, 2025 as National Hispanic Heritage Month. And this one will start with Ms. Berendre.
whereas on September 17, 1967, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law the National Hispanic Heritage Week Bill, which authorized the President to designate the week of September 15 as a National Hispanic Heritage Week, which was first observed in 1968, and
whereas in 1988, President Ronald W. Reagan signed into law including the creation of National Hispanic Heritage Month, U.S. Representative Esteban Torres, a proponent of the bill, noted that supporters, quote, want the American people to learn of our heritage. We want the public to know that we share a legacy with the rest of the country, a legacy that includes artists, writers, Olympic champions, and leaders in business, government, cinema, and science. And
whereas the Township of Hopewell is honored to join the federal government and citizens throughout the country in recognizing September 15th, 2025 through October 15th, 2025 as National Hispanic Heritage Month. And
whereas the Township of Hopewell honors and celebrates the contributions of Hispanic Americans in our history across the nation, as well as celebrating the contributions of Hispanic Americans who currently serve our communities here in Hopewell Township. And
whereas the Township of Hopewell, in its continued effort for equity and diversity, remains dedicated to providing resources for Spanish-speaking communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Courtney Peters Manning of the Township of Hopewell, proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as National Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you, and we have two more, the first one being a proclamation of the month of September 2025 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, beginning with Deputy Mayor.
Oh, apologies. Whereas, according to the American Cancer Society, prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in men and is the second leading cause of cancer-related death among men in the United States. And whereas it is estimated that in 2025, there will be approximately 313,780 new cases of prostate cancer diagnosed in the United States, and approximately 35,770 men will die from the disease. And
whereas 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with the prostate cancer during their lifetime, and whereas prostate cancer risk is higher in African American men, who are 1.7 times more likely to be diagnosed and 2.1 times more likely to die from the disease than white men. And
whereas more than 3.5 million men in the United States are currently living with prostate cancer, and whereas when detected early, prostate cancer is highly treatable, with the 5-year relative survival rate being nearly 100%. And
Whereas it is vital that men, especially those over the age of 50 and those with a family history of prostate cancer, are aware of the importance of regular checkups, early screening, and understanding the symptoms and risk factors of this disease. And whereas the Township of Hopewell seeks to support all individuals impacted by this disease and encourages its residents to educate themselves and their loved ones about prostate cancer and its prevention.
Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Courtney Peters Manning, Mayor of the Township of Hopewell, Mercer County, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim the month of September as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in Hopewell Township and urge all citizens to join in this important observance.
And Mayor, may I just comment personally that my father is a 20-plus year survivor of prostate cancer, and so raising awareness, one of the reasons we do proclamations like this is to raise awareness and to make sure that people get checked out, they get treated. It's sometimes something small, but if we can save just one life or a few lives through this type of public education, that's what we try to do as a government body.
And it's a simple blood test.
Okay, now we have proclaiming September 2025 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Hopewell, beginning with Ms. Perendere.
Whereas ovarian cancer is a serious disease that affects thousands of individuals each year, and it is a fifth leading cause of the cancer death among women. Whereas women's life risk of developing ovarian cancer is approximately 1 in 78, and due to the lack of reliable early detection tests, it is often diagnosed in advanced stages where makes treatment more difficult. And
whereas early detection and improved outcomes are dependent on increasing public awareness of the symptoms, which include bloating, pelvic or abdominal pain, feeling full quickly, and urinary urgency or frequency. And
whereas the Township of Hopewell is committed to promoting the health and well-being of all its residents and recognizes the importance of raising awareness about this devastating disease. And
whereas the Township staff will show their support by wearing teal on September 12th, 2025, to stand in solidarity with those affected by ovarian cancer and to encourage conversations about the signs and symptoms.
Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Courtney Peters Manning, Mayor of the Township of Hopewell, do hereby declare the month of September 2025 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in Hopewell Township. I further urge all residents to educate themselves and their loved ones about the risk factors and symptoms of ovarian cancer and to support organizations dedicated to research, education, and patient care. Thank you. Thank you all. Now, we do not have any additional items for the meeting agenda, Ms. Fettenman?
No, Mayor, we do not.
So we will move to committee member and staff reports, beginning with Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and committee members. I do not have anything to report tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Burkhead?
Good evening. I have nothing to report this evening.
Okay. Ms. Troutman?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Mr. Goodell?
I do have something to report.
Okay.
We got the petition for the notice of petition for certification today from the boroughs, at least from Pennington Borough. Hopewell Borough is not joining in that petition. The Pennington Borough now has until September 22nd to file their brief with the Supreme Court. We then have 15 days to respond. And then the Supreme Court will determine whether or not they will take the case.
Did they take amicus briefs for
They do.
petition?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Fettenman?
I have nothing to report tonight, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Ruger?
All right. Hello, everybody. In my role as Township Liaison to the schools, I met with Superintendent Treese and Bob Colavita and members of the Finance Committee last week. We discussed the funding for Bear Tavern. As you all know, we have committed $16.1 million. That is now delayed because of the borough's appeal of the decision. But the school is interested in understanding how we will go forward with it when we ultimately can go forward with it. You may have seen an article over the weekend that we have directed our council, and while working with the school district, we are going to come up with the appropriate documents so that we can show our commitment. So we will continue to move forward with that. And that's all that I have.
Thank you. Mr. Kaczynski?
Nothing to report tonight. I know we have members of the public, so I'm going to defer any comments till later.
Okay. Ms. Perendere?
thank you, Ms. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I have a couple of things here. Environment Commission meeting is going to be on September 16th at 7 p.m. on the Zoom. As you may have been aware, anybody who were supposed to ride yesterday or day before yesterday for the full moon ride, that has been postponed till further notice due to the weather emergencies yesterday and on Saturday, so stay tuned for the updated date. We also have a joint Board of Health meeting scheduled on September 10th at 6 p.m. here at the Hopewell Township Hall. So if interested, please come join. As you know, the Hopewell Township serves for the Pennington Health Department as well as Hopewell Borough. So that this will be an annual joint meeting. Thank you, and that's all for me.
Deputy Mayor.
Great, thank you. And I will keep it brief, recognizing that there's so many members of the community here for public and other discussions. The Tourism Economic Development Advisory Committee will be meeting on Wednesday here in this room at 6 p.m. I'm looking forward to a great conversations there. As we kick off the school year, the Youth Advisory Board is in full gear, finalizing membership for the year, with the first meeting coming up 2 weeks from today. And then lastly, just want to give a complete gratitude to Public Works, who's continuing to do lots of great work around the town in terms of road cleanup. Really important for safety. You know, we do a lot of talking about traffic and road safety, and again, right-of-way cleanups and other pieces are so important to that, as well as lots of work on parks and recreation. And then lastly, I just want to share the sentiment from Saturday and what a meaningful ceremony it was, and appreciate the opportunity to be a part of that.
Thank you, and I'd like to second the shout out to Public Works. I had a resident ask me about a site triangle that needed mowing, and I think they mowed it within 15 minutes. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it was very quick, so thank you for that. Okay, I just have two quick things tonight. The senior picnic is this Thursday with a rain date, which we are not going to need this year, the week later. And also the police department is beginning a Citizens Police Academy this year for the first time. It's done in other towns. It's a great opportunity if you want to learn about how the police department works. You can apply to be a part of the Citizens Police Academy. It meets every Wednesday in October. On your way out, you can scan, there's a QR code to apply, or you can find it on the Hopewell Township Police website. And that's all that I have, so I think now we will turn to the public. If you would like to speak, please come to the microphone. State your name, where you live, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand, and Ms. Fenton Newman will call on you. Please.
Hi, I'm Tracy Zaradnansky at 5 George Washington Drive. In early 2020, the first mention of Bear Tavern Elementary School having PFAS or PFAS found in their drinking water came out publicly. Bear Tavern remedied the problem, and it did not come out in a public meeting until November 2023, over 3 years later. Quiet testing by the DEP has taken place over the past 5 years, starting by the school, going to the river, and 5 years later, George Washington Drive, which is 0.6 miles away from the school. We received our results this past week. Every house that gets tested gets a letter back from the DEP that is CC'd to the Hopewell Township Clerk and the Hopewell Township Health Officer, and yet we have not received any public comment or letter from Hopewell. Our house has a whole house water filtration system that does not do anything for PFAS, as well as, and all of us must get a carbon filtration system to combat what is essentially coming to our wells from the Delaware River. We have been told in writing by the DEP that we should not be cooking, bathing, farming, swimming, drinking, washing dishes or clothes, or brushing our teeth with water contaminated with PFAS. And yet the township has said nothing. Ignoring the problem does not mean it does not exist. We are now required as homeowners to get 3 bids and wait months for carbon filtration systems to be installed in our homes. And yet we have received no public comment or help from the township. Every house on George Washington Drive that was tested by the DEP has tested above appropriate levels for both PFAS and PFOS and PFOAs. We also have PFAS in other PFAS in our water, but they are lower than what is deemed dangerous by the DEP. According to the CDC and the American Cancer Society, PFAS and other PFOAs lead to increased cholesterol levels, lower antibody responses to vaccines, liver enzyme changes, pregnancy-induced hypertension and preeclampsia, lower birth weight, kidney cancer, thyroid cancer, testicular cancer, bladder, prostate, ovarian, and breast cancers. And yet we have not received any public comment from the help from the township. Over the last 5 years, one George Washington neighbor has suffered from bladder cancer, another from breast cancer. I personally have had multiple ruptured ovarian cysts and liver lesions have been found. No family history. After talking with 3 companies to get our bids, one in Union, one in Hewitt, and one in Rumson, we have been told the following by all 3, that our levels aren't good, but we can bathe and wash our clothes. They also said that if we have small children or pets in the house, that we should not be using the water. Yet we have not had any advocation from the township. We are not asking, we are demanding the following. 1, Hopewell Township sent letters via USPS to each Titusville resident explaining the timeline of when and where and how this started, the dangers according to the CDC, how many homes, businesses, and public spaces have been tested, and how many have come back high. That Hopewell Township provides the residents of Titusville with jugs of water purchased through funds provided by the DEP Contamination Remediation and Redevelopment that are to help situations like this. The water should be provided free of charge every weekend to every home or business in Titusville that has tested positive and is waiting carbon filtration systems. We all have letters as proof. 3, that Hopewell Township opens a direct and immediate pathway between the residents of Titusville and the DEP to get every home connected to a well or to a community well individually tested and results back by July 30th, 2026. This is our health and our children's health that has been put in jeopardy because nobody has spoken out or told us anything. We demand that this be taken seriously and that our 3 tasks are met as soon as possible. We voted you in to represent and protect us, and please do so. Thank you.
I'll answer that one right away. Normally we take all of the public comments and answer them at the end, but I'll answer that one. That's terrible that you have had PFAS in them. I know it's a problem all over the country, and it's a particular problem in Titusville. I know Union Fire and Rescue Company has been dealing with PFAS contamination and had to drill a deeper well in order to find water that wasn't contaminated. The DEP has jurisdiction over this. The reason you haven't heard anything from the township is that we're not informed when we're copied with the clerk.
You are informed.
But I'm sorry, let me finish.
You're all
I
CC'd.
listened to you. Please let me finish. The DEP receives the well testing results. They copy the clerk, but a DEP is running this program. I am happy I hope that anyone who has an issue like this would feel free to call me or email me. When you hear something like this, if you feel like the township is not communicating with you properly, I will get in touch with our health officer tomorrow and find out where we are in this situation. We don't have the jurisdiction to do all of the things that you're asking, but I will work with our health officer.
We want water.
Would you please just let me finish?
No, we want drinking water.
I understand, and I am completely sympathetic, and I understand that this is a terrible situation. The DEP is the part of the government that deals with the situation. I will get in touch with DEP, I will talk to our health officer, and find out what the solution will be. Again, anytime something like this comes up, please call me, send me an email, and we could have dealt with this earlier. I would be happy to get in touch with you anytime about this issue. So I will talk to our health officer tomorrow and figure out what our next steps are going to be. Anyone else like to speak?
I'm sorry to hear about what your community is going through. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Deborah Miliaresis, 10 Flower Hill Terrace in Pennington, New Jersey. I'm also coming up to say that we've formally become Flower Hill Civic Association. We have members both on the Ewing side of Bull Run Road and also on the Pennington side of Bull Run Road. We have presented our brochure and mission statement to Ewing Township. We are recognizing Ewing also. I have attended one Ewing council meeting, and I will be going to their meeting again tomorrow night. The first thing that I'd like to recognize is how Ewing's meetings differ from what we experience. Is the mic on? Sorry. Oh, yeah. Is that better? Oh, that's really good. This is so good. I need this at home. One of the things that I'd like to point out and recognize is that Ewing conducts its meetings differently than we do. They are a small D democracy meeting where the public can pose a question and it will be answered by the committee as the question is served. I think it would do us as a community a lot of service to have that also replicated here instead of waiting until the end, so it could be a give and take. Like, then we can understand what the solution is as it's happening. I'm not sure, and maybe you can tell me if it has been that way in the past. I recognize that there's a lot of us here and that it does take up time, and I see my clock ticking. But I think we could benefit as a society if we listen and respond to one another. I want to also ask, obviously, Flower Hill Terrace, what progress has been made. I know that we're talking 5 years out. What has come to your desk? What is now in the works? What is going on now? I'd also, I've reached out to 3 of the households that will be affected by the roundabout that's proposed for Flower Hill Terrace. None of those households knew about it, and I have a map of what it should look like. It was publicly posted on Facebook. So I want to know when the township will approach the residents there, because they didn't know anything about it. And it will affect them adversely.
I'm not sure about a roundabout on Flower Hill Terrace. I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry, on Bull Run Road and Federal City.
Okay.
Yes. And also, just one more quick point. Mr. Konczynski, you noted, not at this last meeting because I didn't attend, the meeting prior, that during storms and things like that, that we could possibly make it available to residents to have brush cleanup after major incidences. We don't rely, my household, you're looking at the cooker, the cleaner, and the forest person at our house. So it would benefit us immensely to have brush cleanup, even if it's for a charge.
It's actually on the agenda tonight.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name's Derek Linebarger. I live at 196 Bull Run Road, directly opposite the CNJ property in Ewing. And I'm talking about the development you folks plan to impose upon the community there, against our will, by the way. But that has been a consistent activity by both the College of New Jersey and the Township of Hopewell for years. 3 years ago, I would say, the College of New Jersey, without telling anyone, began tearing down the dam. Well, first they drained the lake on that property that thousands of migratory geese used every year. And I called up Hopewell and I said, we've got all these bulldozers and track hoes out here. Does anybody have a permit to do this? Usually the DEP would have to be involved. Out west, farmers were fined huge sums for filling in tractor ruts, and you guys are taking out a whole lake of many acres. Well, nobody at the code enforcement around here could tell me anything, and basically blew me off. And before anything could be done, they were done tearing down the dam. Now they want to build all this stuff in a community that has a rainwater runoff that won't stop, a road in front of it which is inadequate for our present purposes, and building some turnaround up there isn't going to change anything. That's absurdity. That the traffic has already exceeds the ability of Bull Run Road to carry it. And this is going to be a very large project. I personally should have and didn't contact the federal and state DEP when they were tearing down that dam and removing that lake. However, I intend to contact both with a letter. I've not enough time to go through all the problems. I don't know if you've seen pictures of the water runoff situation in that area. But I plan to contact the DEP and tell them that they should investigate this thing, because it looks to me like Hopewell's intent on putting this operation in the section of town south of 295, so it doesn't bother the more affluent communities in the north. And it's just, environmentally, it's not called for at all. It's going to make the whole area around there, the creek's going to overflow, and it goes all the way through Ewing and Trenton. It's going to, there's areas of Trenton that flood from that creek. Adding more water to it, it's not just Ewing and Lawrence, it's a problem for Trenton too. You know, and if you succeed in building it and it makes things much worse, the township can, having been a partner in it, can expect to be part of the lawsuit.
Thank you. I will address the Bull Run development and the roundabout at the end, but I would like to ask Ms. Burkhead to please follow up about the allegations that TCNJ drained a lake and destroyed a dam there, because that should never happen, and that is absolutely unacceptable. So could you please follow up and find out what happened and what was done about it? And it's also not acceptable if the code enforcement didn't answer your questions or didn't reply to you.
I called up and they acted like they didn't know anything about it. I'm sitting there going,
so I think,
3 bulldozers and 2 tractors out there. How do we not know about it?
So if we could have the community development department look into that, I would appreciate what happened. And maybe Mr. Snyder, you can figure out what happened and why the code enforcement didn't punt that to community development, which is probably the right place for it to be. Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Hi. Good evening. My name is Matt Kemp. I live at 5 Wild Cherry Lane. I'm a Ewing resident. Thank you, Ms. Mayor, for the time and the esteemed council to be able to speak with you again. I'm also with the group with the Bull Run Road projects. I'm very concerned that the projects that are projected or proposed are going to impact not only the Hopewell Township areas, like the Flower Hill folks, and then the folks on the Hampton Hills side of Bull Run Road, with traffic congestion, flooding problems. It's already an issue. It's been documented at the police department with cut through. Anytime the Bull Run Road traffic gets backed up at 31, our neighborhood gets, now it's the cut through to get around and through the Rockley Drive exit. Real quick, I'd like to applaud the ARC folks for what they're doing. My neighbor is a lifelong ARC patient, I guess you would say. I don't know if that's the proper term, but she's been there forever. And it's a wonderful program for her. So to see that kind of thing flourish, especially with those kind of skills, is wonderful. It is interesting to hear that the ARC program is, has part of that assisted living thing going. So we applaud the assisted living projects. It's just, our issue is that it's they're just pushing so much into the area, congesting everything there on the Bull Run Road area in that proposed project. I'm wondering if the ARC project is going to have any impact on the proposal for the Bull Run Road project because of the beds that they're proposing. So I'm wondering if there's a balancing act there going on, or if those are all lumped in to the overall of this next phase. Does that make sense?
They were all part of the affordable housing, of our 4th round affordable housing plan.
The other issue is the roundabout. I've got a lot of experience with the roundabout up there. I'm kind of taken aback by the project. It has been needed for quite some time. Something up there has been needed for quite some time. I think everyone is in agreement with that. The problem that we have got to put on the board, or on the record, and we have in the past, is you have built and built and built, but none of the infrastructure was enhanced or improved. There were improvement studies that were made and nothing was done. But the building is there and the people are there, the traffic is there, everything is there to fill up the building complex, but the roads have been impacted and they will be impacted. And I mean, is this really a proposal, the roundabout? And if so, how long is it going to take to get there anyway? Or even a traffic light? I mean, this building was put right across from the Senior Living Center in Hopewell, or I'm sorry, Lawrence Township, and it is a traffic nightmare. So is that what we on the Bull Run Road proposal, Hampton Hills and Ewing, and the Flower Hill folks, is this what we're going to expect from Hopewell Township? This is going to be the infrastructure upgrades that are done with the studies? So I'm just throwing that out there.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Anyone else like to speak? If there's anyone on Zoom, please raise your hand. If you'd like to speak, just come on to the microphone.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Kosis. I live in Pennington. Each year, Robert Colavita, Assistant Superintendent for Business for our regional school system, prepares an annual comprehensive financial report. In his report for 2024, he makes an important comment on how pilots or long-term abatement programs shift the financial burden of these development deals onto regional taxpayers who do not live in pilot developments. These shifts impact the finances of our local school district and thus the children in our public schools. He states, if a municipality entered into a tax abatement agreements, those agreements will not directly affect the school district's local tax revenue because New Jersey State Statute 54 requires that amounts so forgiven must effectively be recouped from other taxpayers and remitted to the school district. State Controller Matthew Boxer, way back in 2010, prepared a programmatic examination of municipal tax abatements, known as pilots. And in the report, he states, the current legal structure of pilots creates a perverse incentive whereby the municipality, in this case Hopewell Township, may gain revenue through granting an abatement while other government entities lose out. Perverse is a great word. It means deviating from what is right and good. My 10-year-old grandson, he overheard me talking about pilots the other night on Saturday, and he asked what they are, and I explained that it has to do with equity, and I tried to give him an example. So I said, you and 4 friends go out to Vito's for lunch, and you agree to share the bill equally. The bill's $100. How much do you have to pay? $20 each, he said. Next time you go with a person who has a lunch abatement program and doesn't have to pay his fair share. The lunch still costs $100. Now how much do your 4 friends have to pay? $25 each. I guess the math program is good here. The person with the abatement gets the goods and services, but shifts the cost of the lunch to his friends. Yes, state law governing pilots make this perverse incentive legal, but that does not make it right. Until our District 15 legislatures, Ms. Turner, Ms. Reynolds-Jackson, Mr. Varelli, join with other state legislatures to change these laws and how they distribute revenue, we must ask you to voluntarily change the way pilots' revenue is distributed. The municipality of Princeton recognized this inequality and in May created an agreement to share a portion of the pilot of that revenue with the school district. Will this committee do the same?
Thank you. Yes, we've committed $16.1 million to the school district from pilot revenue, but I'll answer that more fully at the end. Anyone else like to speak? Anyone on Zoom, Ms. Fenton Newman?
Yes, Melanie Phillips, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, Melanie Phillips. It will not let me start the video. It says that I do not have the authority to do so. I'm at 109 Washington Crossing, Pennington Road. My question tonight is in concern with Resolution 25 on the agenda, number 2513C. It is the right of first refusal for a condominium for sale that is part of the affordable housing program. If I'm reading it correctly, it looks as if the township has turned down the ability to maintain that, to continue that as an affordable housing unit, and will instead allow it to proceed a sale at market rate of 95% payment to the township. I'd like you to clarify that resolution before it's passed, please. I'd also like you to explain to the taxpayers why the township would specifics regarding this particular sale, that's okay. I would be satisfied with several reasons. You could give me, can't tell you which one it is, but it could be one of the possible following reasons why. But since we are continually having to build more and more affordable housing units, it seems counterproductive to me as a taxpayer that we are taking something that is on the affordable housing rolls off of those rolls, and now we'll have to build something else to replace it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd be happy to answer that. There's a very good explanation once we get through the rest of the public comments. Next.
Michael Warren, please unmute yourself. Oop, Mr. Warren?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. Mike Warren, 120 Mine Road, Pennington, New Jersey. First, appreciative for the work that First Work has done in the development on both pieces of property they acquired, and happy that they're staying with agricultural use. My question is related to traffic flow, both with the farm road as well as the farm stand. As everyone is likely well aware, 31 has become increasingly busy over the last several years, and that intersection is a fairly dangerous one on a sharp curve. And so folks coming in and out of that one can be quite dangerous for those people that are trying to take a left there, as well as a left on the line or a left off of the line. And so I think my understanding of the use of the agricultural road was to avoid traffic down Fox Run. And if I understand kind of the full properties that we'll be developing, it seems like there's a natural loop from Marshall's Corner, Woodsville, down Fox Run through the farm. And I just want to make sure that there's adequate thought to both safety and traffic flow there. I don't believe that Fox Run is inaccessible by emergency services vehicles. It's not so narrow that it can't be accessed. So I don't know that it would be practical or feasible for those vehicles to use a gravel road as opposed to the existing paved roads currently in place.
Thank you. I will have the ARC Mercer answer that question once we're done with the rest of the public comment. Is there anyone else on Zoom? Is that in your room?
No one is raising their hand, Mayor.
And I'm not seeing anyone else in the room. Last call. Okay, so with that, I'll close the public comment section, and I will. I'll start with Ms. Phillips, as it's a very easy answer. We have about 120 expiring deed restrictions for affordable housing. We are trying to extend absolutely as many of those as possible. When a homeowner decides that they do not want to re-extend their affordability controls, Hopewell Township has the option to purchase the home at the at a set price. I believe, Mr. Goodell, it was $230,000.
I couldn't tell you exactly, but something like that.
It was something. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it would have cost the township hundreds of thousands of dollars to get one credit of affordable housing. And that's just not sustainable. So when this unit is sold, the difference between the affordable price, with appreciation, reasonable appreciation from when the time it was purchased, to the market rate, the difference between that number and the market rate unit, 95% of that goes to the township, 5% of that goes to the homeowner. And as much as we would love to keep that in our affordable housing program, we just cannot afford as a township $230,000. Don't quote me on that exact number, but it was in that ballpark. $230,000. Is that what you know, David?
I wasn't going to confirm the number, but okay. Just as the mayor mentioned, there's been a heavy focus on informing all residents, all of the information surrounding this for them to make informed decisions. And I do want to share, as this has been a part of the plan, currently, as of 2 days ago, there have been 105 that are to be extended.
105 to be extended.
Yeah, and more that they're still in the decision.
And we can't force people to extend them. It's their property, it's their home, their homeowners. So if they don't want to extend them within the rules of the township gets the first right of refusal, and then if it's sold, we get 95% of the growth. So it's the homeowner's right to make that decision.
And that 95% goes into our affordable housing trust fund.
Goes into our affordable housing trust fund, used to support other affordable housing in the township. Could I ask Mr. Cook to answer this question about traffic flow? You please come up to the microphone.
So I believe the question was regarding the agricultural access road going from Mine Road up past the cistern, but into the Fox Run property. That road is for agricultural use, and the connection to Fox Run that we're requesting is so that the residents of there can have access to the farm. So with respect to anybody else using that road for emergency services, we are hopeful that the agricultural board will allow us to make whatever accommodations would make the cistern usable to the fire department, so that at least for our farming infrastructure, we'd have access. If any other emergency services find it useful to use that road during an emergency call, that would be completely at their discretion.
But it's not going to be open to the public, this access road?
No.
Okay, I think that was the gist of the question.
Yeah, no, this is not for Fox Run folks to use to go through here.
Or for the public to cut around to avoid traffic on 31.
Exactly, yeah, no, it's
Okay.
not a public road. This is
Okay.
literally, it'd be like coming onto our property and cutting through our property.
Okay.
The only exception would be for the emergency services,
Okay.
to use it to access the cistern, if we can get that approval with the agricultural board. And in any case that they felt that was a better way to get onto our property for any emergency services only.
And could you repeat I know there's a hotline for neighbors to call if they have any questions. Could you repeat that number in case Mr. Warren has any follow-up questions?
It's up there, so you'd have to put it up because I don't
Does anyone
remember
from the ARC
exactly
know
what
the
it
number
was.
off the top of their head?
But hold on one second,
609.
Steve's getting it. So this is our Good Neighbor program.
Yes.
So if you're a
If you have
resident,
any more questions,
you're going to
if that
get
didn't
a
adequately
refrigerator
answer it, please
magnet
give
with
him a
this,
call.
and the contact information is 609-649-9577 is the phone number, and the email is pretty easy. It's called goodneighbor@arcmercer.org.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I'll address the pilot question. We've talked quite a lot about pilots. We did voluntarily give $16.1 million, or commit to give $16.1 million to the schools to fund the improvements at Bear Tavern. We are still moving forward with that. We can't sign on the dotted line until the appeal is concluded, but we are going to move forward with setting up the infrastructure so that we can go forward with that when that happens. I do want to make just one comment that Mr. Goodell might get mad at me about. Some of the fairness arguments from Pennington, I think, fall a little flat when, as a municipality, they have done not a lot for their affordable housing obligation, which is a regional responsibility. And also the per student cost in the township is much, much higher than it is in the boroughs. Pilot agreements are how affordable housing get built in New Jersey. All over the state there are pilot agreements. The cost of infrastructure in Hopewell Township is exorbitantly high, which is why this pilot was necessary for these affordable housing obligation, or for the affordable housing to get built. But the fairness arguments I find a little bit disingenuous when we are paying, Mr. Kaczynski, I know you know the numbers off the top of your head, what we're paying per student versus what the boroughs are paying per student?
It's roughly 40% more.
40% more. So that is not the reason we did the pilot, but I think it sort of speaks to the fairness argument that we keep hearing about. But nevertheless, $16.1 million we've committed for the Bear Tavern improvements. I will speak to the Bull Run Road, the roundabout and the development at Bull Run Road. The potential development at Bull Run Road. As I've spoken to the neighbors, I went out to Flower Hill. I met with the Camelot School, nursery school owners. I visited. We are many, 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 many years away from any development happening there, and any development will be required to have DEP wetland studies, site plan approval by the planning board, traffic study, many, many, many things that need to happen before we get to that point. And if it turns out that we can't fit everything in that neighborhood or in that land that we have in our affordable housing plan, we will need to move it and put it somewhere else. So please, I appreciate Ms. Milarsis coming back to our meetings often, because we will keep you informed about what's going on. You also have my email address. Please email me anytime. We will keep you informed as this goes on. And I've mentioned to the neighbors also, the property owned by TCNJ right now is zoned as, I believe, R150, and they could, by right, do single-family homes on 1.5 acre lots. Steve is giving me a dirty look. I think I'm pretty sure about Mr. Goodell.
It's less than 1.5 acres.
It's less than 1.5 acres, but so they could build a bunch of single-family homes there by right now, because property owners have property rights and they can build what they want on their property. So because it's a part of our affordable housing plan, we and you have input as to how this process goes forward. So please stay in touch with me and with us as this moves forward. We are residents of the township. We want it to be a good neighbors and a good part of our township. About the roundabout on Federal City and Bull Run, I understand that is a horrible intersection and that something needs to happen there now. Lawrence Township is moving forward with a traffic light at Federal Point and Federal City, which is at the exit of the Woodmont development, so that is moving forward. We put money in our budget for a traffic light at Federal City and Bull Run 5 years ago. We wanted to move forward with that. We've run into some hiccups with Ewing and Lawrence about getting that through the goal line. Now the county is really down on traffic lights. They are much more in favor of roundabouts for, I think, a lot of good reasons. They are much safer. As I've spoken with Sunny, the the county engineer, when people see a yellow light, it means speed up and get through the traffic light as soon as possible. So I think traffic fatalities are something like 73% less in roundabouts than they are in traffic lights. So they are not in favor of us putting a traffic light there. So we've applied for funding for the the DOT for this roundabout. Ewing is taking the lead on the studies to do this roundabout there. Nothing has been decided as of yet. I would personally think a traffic light would do well there. I've also, Ms. Burkhead, you have been in touch with the township, or I keep saying that, the county engineer about a potential interim solution. I know that is an intersection that needs attention and has needed attention for a very, very long time. So, Ms. Burkhead, could you give us an update on what you've found?
Yes, I spoke with the county engineer approximately about, I'm going to say 6-8 weeks ago in regards to this. And basically their interim solution is just a pencil sketch on a napkin at this point. He took a picture and he sent me a copy of it, and what the proposal is right now as the interim until they go to a full circle is to put a stop sign on the Federal City north side, northeast direction of traffic. Then widen the arc from Bull Run onto Federal City and make that the directional flow. So you would be flowing from Bull Run onto Federal City north and south that way with no stop. The only stop would be on the northbound Federal City side. So as I said, it was a very harsh sketch, and as far as I know, they've moved no further forward with it. It's just a concept, because also there is a number of utilities, a fire hydrant, poles, all kinds of things at that intersection where they can only maintain the right-of-way on the south side of Bull Run. They would actually have to take a lot of the front of the church area there on that corner. So I think that's where the issues are coming into, that they're having issues with relocation of all of those utilities, the actual church sign, the big pylon sign that's kind of on the ground there, that would have to get relocated. The water line would need to get relocated so that the fire hydrant was moved. So there's a number of issues even holding up their interim solution.
Can I ask that you follow up again with Sunny, the county engineer, and Mr. Snyder, maybe you can follow up with the administrator in Ewing and get an update on that for our next meeting. Mr.
Can I
Kuczynski, do you want to add something?
add to it? I mean, the traffic concerns at that intersection have been front and center. We funded proactively a traffic light. We had joint studies with Lawrence and Ewing a number of years ago. 2 of the 3 municipalities agreed to it, and you've just heard from the mayor some of the new solutions, some of the alternatives. We're not all convinced that a roundabout personally is better than a traffic light, but we have to listen to the county engineer on that and have it guided. But fundamentally, the traffic warrants merit a improvement at that intersection. And just like we have fought hard, like we dig in when there are traffic issues. We got the speed limit lowered at Bear Tavern. It's just been announced that the light is going on at Ingleside. We've done improvements on Canal Road, and so every part of the township is equally important from a traffic standpoint. And so it's not through lack of effort. you know, and you've heard from the mayor, you've heard from our professionals. We will continue to push for those solutions. We don't have unfortunately, if I could just wave a magic wand and it would happen, I would have done that already. We have to work with, you know, unfortunately that intersection is on the intersection of 3 municipalities, and that unfortunately is slowing things down.
And while I am in very constant communication with the mayors of both Ewing and Lawrence, and our administrator is in communication with those administrators, getting this, it doesn't mean we're not talking to each other, it's just getting 3 governing bodies on the same page is somewhat a challenge, and the county facilitating and then finding the funding for it. As Ms. Burke had mentioned, some of the complications. Another one is for a traffic light. If you have a red light, there's no left turn lane. So if you had people would be stopped and wouldn't be able to turn left. So it's a very complicated issue, intersection, excuse me. I know that's not what you want to hear when you have a traffic problem that's critical, but that's the truth of it.
And then I think
So-
the other thing I would just comment on, just because there's one area where I perhaps have a little bit of knowledge. So Ms. Burkhead, on the question regarding the dam, you know, I think that is in the DEP purview. You know, I'm not sure what happened with I don't think TC&J can take down a dam of their own volition, but it is governed by DEP dam safety, and so we can look into that, and we will. About 20 years ago, they classified hundreds of dams across the state as high hazard dams, and the property owners were required to either upgrade them or to decommission them. And, you know, being a homeowner on a property that was affected by that, Mr. Goodell knows I worked for over 10 years before I was on the committee to help work through and navigate that situation. So I think if we can give some guidance on what happened and the specifics regarding that dam, I think it would be helpful. And then I'm very sensitive also, you know, I heard the concerns about runoff, you know, and the impact on the streams. We, the township, have engaged, we're doing, you know, with community development, we're working across municipalities on 2 watersheds, the Stony Brook Millstone and the lands that drain into Assunpink Creek. And so the Watershed Association has been spearheading those efforts. We have funded those efforts from a township standpoint to try to find solutions. We certainly, I'll speak for myself, don't want to make it worse, but I would encourage on the runoff concerns, I would bring them to the Watershed Association. You know, obviously, Ms. Burkhead and our Community Development Department will also be sensitive to that, but we, right now, the new stormwater regulations say that we need less runoff in New Jersey, not more. And so, you know, I think there's even something on the agenda later where we're going to talk about enhancing our regulations on that front. But, you know, there's a lot of public information out there, and, you know, I, for one, being, you know, someone who has been involved on environmental issues for a long time, it's front and center for me. You know, but I think this committee, on balance, is not going to do something that would make runoff worse. I mean, we're working even now doing a pilot project potentially for the residents on Diverty Road because of a pre-existing condition from a number of years ago. And that's, you know, I thank you for bringing the issue to us. You know, I want to point you to where there are other resources that can help, but I think this committee, I think the mayor going out and visiting the neighborhood, it's important to all of us.
We have another public comment section at the end of the meeting, so you can come up again then. I'm sorry, we have to do it when we get to the end. Okay, so thank you. That concludes the public section. So we have minutes submitted for approval tonight. We have the regular meeting minutes of August 11th, 2025. Could I have a motion, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, the Erkmarster. Thank you for coming. You are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, but if you would like to leave, we will not be offended. I meant to say that at the beginning. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for all that you do. Okay, could I have a motion, please, for the regular meeting minutes?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will abstain. Now we have ordinances, final reading, public hearing, and adoption. Can you hear me? You get back. All right, we're back. Okay, Ms. Arena is saying that we're back. That would be the television broadcast, not the Zoom, if we have confused looks from the audience. So now we will move to ordinances, final reading, public hearing, and adoption. I'm going to move A and B together because they deal with the same issue. We have A, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 10, fees and permits of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Hopewell, and B, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 3, law enforcement regulations, Section 3-18, yard waste collection of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Hopewell. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
So this is the final reading and public hearing, so we will have two separate public hearings. First, we will have a public hearing on A, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 10. But first, we'll have Mr. Snyder give us a brief explanation of these ordinances, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So over the years, several residents have requested assistance with brush collection after isolated destructive weather events such as windstorms, rainstorms, and snowstorms that brought down trees and branches. And you and Deputy Mayor Chait had a conversation with our Assistant Director of Public Works, Dave Garrard, on some options, and it seems like this approach will be the best for our residents and the community. And the proposal is for subscription brush collection that would be outside of regular brush collection, where a resident could pay $50 for the first approximately 9 cubic yards, which is 15 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. And then
it's big.
It's that size, yes. It's the size of one of our large dump trucks. And then $35 for each additional 9 cubic yards per property. And so this was amending our ordinance and our fee ordinance.
Thank you. And I'd like to give a credit to Mr. Gerard, who took, Mr. Chait and I came to him and said, we have this problem. We know we can't do a supplementary brush collection for the whole township every time there's a storm, unless it's a really destructive storm. But so what can we do to solve this problem? I think Ms. Malarsis said this, brought this issue up too. So he did a great job and came up with this idea and came up with the ordinance, so he really deserves a lot of credit. So please let him know that we are thankful for that. Any other questions or comments from the committee before we open the public hearing?
So one question for me.
Yeah.
Mr. Snyder, when we talked about this on August 11th, I expressed and I described it as a slight concern about whether this could be competing against private contractors. And you said that you would let me know if anybody reached out to you with any concerns. Did anybody?
I have not heard anything from any private contractors about competition or concerns about township taking away business from contractors.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have to have two separate public hearings for each ordinance. So first, if anyone would like to speak on A, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 10, fees and permits, please come to the microphone. If you'd like to speak on this ordinance only, same rules as last time, your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you're on Zoom, raise your hand. Anybody, Ms. Fenton-Newman?
No, ma'am.
I'm not seeing anyone, so could I have a motion, please, to close the public hearing?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Public hearing is closed. I'll do the same for B, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 3. Anyone like to speak? Come to the microphone or raise your hand. No, this is just about this ordinance only. I'm not seeing any, so could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so the public hearing is closed, and if there are no more comments or questions from the committee, we'll move to a roll call on both, please. Ms. Fenton-Newman.
Yes. Committee Member Kaczynski,
Yes, and thanks to Mr. Gerard and to you, Mr. Snyder.
Committee Member Pirandari,
Yes.
Committee Member Ritter,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait,
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning.
Yes.
And both these ordinances have been adopted on the final reading and will be identified as numbers 25-1854 and 25-1855.
Thank you. Next, we have an ordinance accepting completed sewer improvements at Hopewell Park Development. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Sorry.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Mayor. So the Hopewell Park pump station and force main have been in operation since January 1st, 2025. The township has billed for sewer service because we are responsible for payment for the treatment. Now that the performance bond has been released, this ordinance will, with this ordinance, the township will take ownership of the pump station and force main as per the developer's agreement.
Thank you. Mr. Byrd will be happy to hear about this one. Any questions or comments from the committee before we open the public hearing? Okay, so we'll open the public hearing. It's the same rules as last time. If you'd like to speak on this ordinance only, please come to the microphone or raise your hand if you're on Zoom, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less.
Yes, good evening. Jim Byrd, Hopewell Township. I just want to bring this to your attention about this ordinance being accepted, but they're not utilizing it. And I was there today as the guy was in there pumping out the sewer and then driving it away. And I said to him, any idea when you're going to be actually hooking up this or actually running the sewer line? He said, gee, you'll have to talk to somebody up in the office. So I'm asking you, when do they plan on doing it? I know some people told me you need X number of sewer gallons. You can do it with or without. It makes no difference because you have water coming from Trenton Waterworks if you need that. But I would like to know what the status on this ordinance, when it will actually be utilized. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Anyone on Zoom, Ms. Fenton? Anyone?
No one on Zoom, Mayor.
Okay, could I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Mr. Snyder, could you follow up with, I was under the impression that it was already, the pump station was already being used. Or Ms. Burkhead, perhaps, follow up with Lenore?
If I can.
Please.
The Hopewell Park pump station is in operation. I've seen it operating. I'm not aware of any pumping out of Hopewell Park. Now, Hopewell Collections, they're still pumping. They're doing a Hopewell Collection.
The collection is the one at the circle behind the shop, right?
Hopewell Park, right there. I was there today. I talked to the individual.
So he might have been pumping, he's transferring from the collection to the park.
Pumping it out and taking it to.
Yeah, I don't know if the operator of the truck would be the best source for the information about what's going on at the pump station, but Mr. Snyder, if you could just follow up and make sure everything is in order, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
And Ms. Troutman, I mean, we have been billing people based on sewer flows, correct?
Based on water.
Yes, but we don't bill on sewer flow. We bill on water usage. So
Okay.
yes, we have been billing.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Piranori?
Yes.
Committee Member Bruger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chase?
Yes.
And Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And this ordinance has been adopted upon final reading and will be identified as number 25-1856.
Thank you, and now we have finally an ordinance enacting the terms of the December 29th, 2021 settlement agreement of litigation and sewer service agreement pursuant to NJSA 40:14A-23 by adopting standards and procedures for the distribution of 10,000 gallons per day of treatment capacity defined therein as miscellaneous flow and adopting special procedures for applications for development requiring sewer service from ELSA. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second. This is our long-awaited process for Diverty residents or any residents in the township with a failing septic system to hook up to any residents that are within the sewer service area and close to the laterals. Ms. Burkhead, could you please?
Yes, we are working on actually the process that you put in place, that the notification was sent out to the residents. We've had a number of residents reaching out to us based on, and this ordinance is establishing those procedures for connecting to the Ewing-Lawrence Sewage Authority system. So at this time, it appears that the majority of residents interested are Diverty Road. We haven't really heard from anybody else.
Yeah, and I misspoke. It's you have to be within a certain.
I have had a phone call from somebody that's not even in the area.
Yeah, so that doesn't work. So it's mainly Diverty Road residents.
Correct. It's just Diverty Road in that surrounding area.
Yes, yes. Mr. Kaczynski, would you like to say anything? I know that this has been, you've been involved in this from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that this is a long-awaited conclusion to the process. I know we've been working to sort of do the parameters. I would say, you know, we're trying to make it as simple as possible from a township standpoint. We insisted that Lennar do sewer laterals that are connected outside of the roadway so that that cost and that avoidance of road opening would be avoided. You know, the conditions that we've worked through is, and it's through our legal settlement with ELSA, is you just need to demonstrate that you have a issue with your existing septic system that qualifies you for this service. And then there's a relatively smaller charge to actually get the sewer connection. We're governed by our agreement with ELSA. You know, a lot of the charges that were in that communication are governed by ELSA, not by Hopewell Township. And so I was surprised by some of the numbers, but then I have a 27-year-old septic system. I'm not in a sewer service area, and so I'm envisioning, you know, having to replace that at some point, and it will be, you know, a multi-tens of thousands of dollars of expense. And so I think this is a solution. It's never a perfect solution, but what we commit to is, particularly for the residents of Diverty who were impacted by the work that went on the Lennar project, you know, we worked to bring public water, natural gas, and sewer service to let them avail themselves of those 3 utilities. And this is the last one that we are working to complete.
Thank you, well said. Any other questions or comments from the committee before we open the public hearing? Okay, so same rules as last time. If you'd like to say something about this ordinance only, please come to the microphone or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. I am not seeing any, so could I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
So.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Public hearing is closed. Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? And we'll move to a roll call vote, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Purandare?
Yes.
Committee Member River?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
And Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And this ordinance has been adopted on final reading and will be identified as number 25-1857.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinances, introduction and first reading, and I would actually like to move to table this ordinance. We have not seen a red line version of this ordinance. I'd like to understand that before I know this is part of our stormwater requirements from the state, but I think it's important that we see a red line version and not just the new version.
No, I agree with that, and you know, I saw some of the commentary. I actually, you know, maybe it's because I'm on the planning board, I actually thought we had gone through and approved this.
Okay.
And had moved forward, because Mr. Hutzman came back to, I thought, the committee multiple times explaining it.
We do have a tree removal ordinance, so this changes our current tree removal
No, but this-
ordinance.
and this- yeah.
That's why I want to see the red line, because I'm
agree.
not clear about what it is changing.
I agree.
Mr. Goodell, do I need a motion and a vote to table this ordinance, or can I just table it?
Don't introduce it.
Okay, we're not introducing it. So thank you, Ms. Burkett. If you could get us a red line, that would be great. Next, we have our consent agenda. It's long, so bear with me. A resolution for redemption of tax sale certificates. B, a resolution authorizing refund of tax overpayment number 1. C, a resolution authorizing refund of tax overpayment number 2. D, a resolution authorizing refund of paid tax and cancellation of unpaid 2025 tax due to veteran exemption granted on Block 44, Lot 29. E, a resolution authorizing refund of pilot overpayment. F, a resolution authorizing refunds from Hopewell Township escrow accounts. G, a resolution amending resolution number 25-296 to correct a refund amount for the Hopewell Township Recreation Department. H, a resolution for payment of premium to Township Treasurer. I, a resolution authorizing release of found monies held by the Police Department. J, a resolution authorizing 70% performance surety bond release for One SP Drive owner, Urban Renewal, LLC. K, a resolution appointing Megan Desmond as school crossing guard in the Police Department. L, a resolution of Hopewell Township to accept a donation from the Hopewell Valley Senior Foundation. M, a resolution approving the application of the Hopewell Valley Arts Council to conduct the Amazing Pumpkin Carve 2025 in October 2025 at Woolsey Park. N, a resolution approving application of Delaware Valley Old Time Power and Equipment Association to conduct a public exhibition. And O, a resolution accepting the resignation of the per diem animal control officer in the Health Department, Catherine Bender. May I have a motion for the consent agenda,
Yeah,
please?
I just had a question on J. I have no
Okay.
objections, but I just want to make sure I understand item J. So basically, they have met all the merits of their performance bond guarantee, and so we're just releasing them on having met the merits.
That is correct. The pertinent information was provided to Mr. Katriniak, and he reviewed it based on the developer's agreement and made sure that conditions were met and agreed that this was suitable to release this.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so could I have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Consent agenda passes. Now we move to regular resolutions. A resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support for the Ark Mercer Group Homes project in Hopewell Township, Mercer County, New Jersey. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder, we just heard the presentation from the Ark Mercer, and this is in support of county funding that they are applying for. Anything to add?
No, Mayor, you covered it. You got it.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
Nope, fully supportive and look forward to voting yes on this.
Okay, here's your chance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. B, a resolution of the Township of Hopewell in the County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, authorizing Township of Hopewell change order number 1 to bid 325-03 road improvements, Denow Road. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Burkett.
Thank you. This is a change order for an increase of $18,344.93 for the addition of dedicated bike lanes to the Denow Road improvement project that's currently going on.
Seems like a worthy increase. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. C, a resolution of the Township Committee of the Township of Hopewell confirming election to not exercise right of first refusal to purchase affordable housing unit located at 209 Castleton Court, Hopewell Township, New Jersey. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. For a second?
Mr. Snyder, we covered this after the public, but could you remind us?
This property has reached the end of its deed restriction period, and the property owners declined to renew the affordable housing controls and intend to sell at market value. The township holds the first right of refusal to purchase a unit, and this is stating that we choose not to exercise that right. As a result, the owner will pay the township 95% of the difference between affordable housing and market sales price. Also, you pointed out the cost of the unit, which could be anywhere. Some of them are 185 or 230. Different units have different values. Also, if we own this unit, there are many other costs associated with it, such as we have to turn on electricity and the water and pay the HOA fees and the recreation fees to the HOA.
Right.
So there's a lot
Cost
of
prohibitive.
hidden costs in there.
I know one issue, Ms. Troutman, is to make sure that at the closing, the 95% is appropriately sent to the township. Can you follow up and make sure that that happens? Okay. Any other questions or comments from the committee?
No, I mean, this single house is not going to meaningfully move the needle on affordable housing in response for the cost
I
that it
would
would
just
take.
echo what Mr. Chait said earlier, that of the available units, we've got well over 100 that have already voluntarily chosen to renew deed
Right.
restrictions. That's how the state program is intended. It is part of our fourth round plan, and we are willing to work with anyone who has a existing deed restriction to try to extend those affordability controls.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. Next, we have bills and claims number 1, which is everything but the Comcast bill. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Troutman, anything unusual or anything to mark on?
I just wanted to point out that it includes the September school payment, which we typically pay by the 10th of a month, so that will be going out the door in the next couple days. And it also includes the October fire district payment.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Pirandari?
Yes.
Committee Member Ruder?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
First bill is passed.
Next, we have bills and claims number 2, which is the Comcast bill. Roll call, please.
I'll move it.
I'm sorry, motion. Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Pirandari?
Yes.
Committee Member Ruder?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
And Mayor Peters Manning.
Yes.
And bills and claims number 2 passes.
Now we'll move to our second public comment section. Thank you for your patience. If you'd like to speak, come to the microphone. I'd also like to say if you ever have anything pressing that you'd like to ask, or if you have a question, please feel free. You don't have to. We love having people at our public meetings, but you don't have. That's not the only way to get in touch with us. If you'd like to talk to, if you have any questions, please. You have my email address. My phone number is everywhere. I'm happy to talk to you anytime, so you don't have to wait through the whole meeting. But please, if anyone would like to speak, come to the microphone, state your name, where you live, 3 minutes or less. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand.
Jim Bird, Hopewell Township. I wanted to thank you all for going to the 9/11 service. I know that you respected everyone who was involved with that, and we also give our thoughts and to everyone who passed away from 9/11. I wasn't here, so you probably heard exactly what I'm about to tell you. And it's in regards to the issue in regards to Federal City Road, with also Bull Run Road, also the, Federal City Boulevard and Forge Circle. And that's where I would like, because I'm going to be saying it here, tomorrow I'm going to be saying it in Ewing, and then I'll be saying it in Lawrence, that the mayor, the administrator, the public works, run of the public works, as well as the engineer, all 3 municipalities get together and actually talk about this, because this has been dodged. Maybe you're trying it, but you're not making it work that I can see. So I would like to find out when you plan on contacting these mayors and so on, when you plan on actually having a meeting, when you actually plan on making the steps to improve the situation that takes place where all 3 municipalities come together. There's also another issue that I have, and it's in regards to the last meeting where a gentleman said, I think that there should be a yield sign on the left side as you're going north on Route 31 off of I-295. And everybody said, that's not apropos. Well, I have some pictures that I'll give to you, because I went over into Ewing to where you get off of 295 and you come down to the roundabouts, where you'll see where there's 2 sets of yield signs on both sides. So it's not just you only put it on the right side. So I will give that to you, and then I suggest that you talk to the people at the state of New Jersey in regards to this, because yes, someone will be in an accident, not only there, but also on getting on to 295 from Route 31. So I'll give you that information, but I'd like to know that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Sylvia Kosas, Pennington Borough. In the same report by State Controller Matthew Boxer in 2010, he states, municipalities should carry out comprehensive and detailed cost-benefit analyses for long-term abatements pilots. The analysis should include consideration of any losses in rateable property that would be suffered by the local school district, as well as the resulting revenue implications. Mr. Calavita makes reference to this in his report in 2024. There he states, in 2023, taxes that otherwise would have been due to Hopewell Township on these long-term tax exemptions pilots amount to $5,759,288, based on the assessed valuations of the long-term tax exemption properties. When Mr. Colavita subtracted the recognized revenue from the annual service charge the pilots paid in lieu of taxes, the balance was $5,314,271. A portion of that, $5,314,271 abatement, for which the conventional taxpayers of Hopewell Township is about 57%, would have been allocated to the school district. That is roughly $3 million if these properties had been taxed conventionally for the year 2023. Pennington Borough's recent appeal to the New Jersey Supreme Court for fair treatment of regional taxpayers also emphasizes these same issues. Our school district will lose millions in rateable tax base needed to fund children's education. These agreements create a dangerous precedent by allowing municipalities to circumvent their annual obligations, not a $16 million promise for something to come. Shared responsibility for school funding is foundational for regional school districts like ours. Crystal Knapp wrote in Planet Princeton in 2023, "There is no magical way that any deficit from pilots will be covered. Either the state will approve the tax cap waivers because of the growing student population, or the school district will have to make cuts to programs. And when the district runs out of space because the increases in students, voters will have to approve referendums for expansions or new buildings. This is not disinformation, it is fact. This is one of the major factors that may impact the outcome of the referendum vote we face in November. Again, will you, the Township Committee, voluntarily change the way pilot revenue is distributed annually? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Please, I know you were waiting, Ms. Miller-Narcissus. You want to speak?
Hi, I'm Tracy Zarodnansky, George Washington Drive. Some of my neighbors are here, and I would just like to say I understand that you say I can email you. We think this should be in a public forum. We think everyone watching should be able to know what's going on in our township since nothing has come out. And I am deeply disturbed that you guys are just like, sorry, DEP, when really I'm a teacher. My husband is a business owner in Hopewell Borough who donates thousands of dollars every year to the school, to firefighter. The rest of my neighbors are retired on fixed income. We are asking for you as a board to contact the DEP for us and get water so that we can drink water. Can you all drink your water? Because we can't. It can give us cancer and has. So we are asking for you as a board, as the clerk, as the person in charge of our health here, to just contact the DEP. Use the funds. It's not Hopewell funds. Please, let me finish. It's not, I get up at 5 in the morning. Please just let me finish. It's not Hopewell funds. It is the DEP contamination, remediation, and redevelopment. They will pay for it. Every company that makes a mistake with the environment or doesn't make a mistake and just does it, they have to pay into that, and that's what's paying for our new systems that we now have to wait months to have installed. Months. So in the meantime, please get us water so every weekend we can have clean water to drink, so we don't have to have a teacher, a business owner, and people on fixed incomes going out and buying their own water when we have wells and systems in place already that are failing because they're not going to take away the PFAS. So we are asking you, if you don't want to do the rest of it, that's fine. It's now on record. We want water. Can you just do that for us? That's what we're asking for.
I don't want to interrupt. Are you
Yes.
I didn't want to give you the impression that I said, I hope you didn't get the impression that I just said we're not going to do anything.
No,
I think
no,
what
we
I
kind
said.
of all did. We're back here.
Well, I apologize if that was the impression that I gave, because I think what I said was I'm going to tomorrow call our health officer and find out who at DEP we can contact to help get you water. That's what I thought I said, so I'm sorry if I wasn't clear enough about that. I was trying to explain why you haven't heard from the township yet is because this is a DEP issue, it's their program, but if you're having problems with the DEP and if you're not getting results from the DEP, we are more than happy to help facilitate that and try to get you the answers. Like, please don't come away with the impression that we are not interested in helping get you water. We absolutely will do that. I will call our health officer tomorrow and figure out who at the DEP we should contact.
Okay.
But so I was merely trying to explain why the letters are coming from DEP and not the township. That's all.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
I just wanted to say to Kevin that I have been in touch with the watershed. I have emailed Mike Pissarro.
Can you just push the button and make sure the button is pushed?
Okay.
There you go.
I get up very early. I have spoken to Mike Pissarro repeatedly at the watershed about the development, the proposed development. Also, I want to know, is there a light confirmed that Lawrence Township is putting in front of Woodmont Forge and Federal City Drive? And are we taking into account the short distance either way? Like, I don't know how that's gonna work, because to get onto 95, it's such a short distance, like it's bad. It's just gonna be bad. And then my second or last question is, after hearing what's going on Diverty Place and within regards to the Lennar development, how did this occur? Like, now their water table I'm trying to understand. Could someone explain to me what happened with the Lennar development that now Diverty Place needs to have work done with their septics and sewers?
I'll explain that. We'll explain the whole thing.
Good, because that's what we have.
Yeah, it's not quite that, but I'll explain the whole thing.
Okay.
Anyone else like to speak? Not seeing anyone
Melanie
on Zoom?
Phillips is on Zoom.
Okay.
Please unmute Ms. Phillips.
Yes, I've unmuted. Melanie Phillips, still at Washington, crossing Pennington Road. Thank you for your answer regarding resolution number 2513-C.
Yep.
I did want to just ask one follow-up question.
Sure.
If you could explain to me what the cost is to build a new affordable housing unit, so that we have some comparison. If you're saying $230,000 is too much to spend to maintain one unit staying on the registry, are we spending $100,000 to build a new one? Are we spending $200,000 to build a new one? Because those numbers do matter. And in addition to just the cost of it, the cost of building a new unit, it's also the cost of the environment. Every time we are destroying land somewhere, it is the cost of additional traffic. Every time we are building additional houses. Is some of the pilot funds that you have collected able to go to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to purchase items such as this at that cost? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom?
No, Mayor, that's it.
Okay, so with that, I'll close the public comment section, and I'll start with the last one. First of all, I just want to reiterate, we can't force people to extend the affordability control. So if the homeowner says they do not want to extend the affordability control, we cannot force them. We could have purchased the unit, that is right. I believe for the Ark Mercer group homes, it would be in the $20,000 to $30,000 range per unit. This is what we were talking about. None of that has been decided. Mr. Goodell, for our 100% affordable units, 100% affordable developments, those are built using tax credits. We're trying to minimize the amount of taxpayer funding that goes to building new units. Could you maybe explain to us if we have an estimate of how much per unit the township has paid in the past, or will planning to pay in the
The township hasn't done that in the past. The idea always is that in inclusionary development, the developer pays and underwrites it. In an 100% affordable project, where other people are paying in that there's HMFA or federal funds which go to underwrite that, the township has to provide some kind of benefit. Usually what we provide is the land, the value of the land. And if we purchase that land, so for instance, Pennytown or Wydell were both large properties that the township paid for millions of dollars for, which we then dedicated to a developer to develop those 100% units. There is a number out there as to how much we would have to pay if we wanted to just build an affordable unit ourselves without any other outside sources of income. I don't know what that is, but
It was in the hundreds of
several
thousands of
hundreds
dollars, right? And
dollars.
I don't want to say that I remember 200 and something thousand dollars as the price, that please don't quote me on that, that could be
more
wrong.
than- I think it's more than that.
It was something, I mean, for this particular unit, it was something like that,
Yeah.
but.
And then if we wanted to build a house for
Right.
affordable housing, it would be much more than that.
Right, and also Mr. Snyder had a good point that this would make the township the landlords of this unit, and we would have to rent the unit as an affordable unit, and that's just not something we're set up to do. So many reasons why we didn't do that. Mr. Kaczynski, would you like to take the Diverty Road question?
Yeah.
What happened to Diverty and why they are now eligible to hook
So
up to ELSA?
the houses on Diverty are on, relatively smaller lots, and they have had persistent issues prior to anything Lennar did with water flow and water, particularly storm runoff is an enemy for septic systems. As part of the impact, we did a lot of work. We had, at least 6 public meetings where we talked to the residents at Diverty, and one of the things we worked through is the township requires that you have both a septic system placement and you have a reserve septic system placement. There was, as we looked at a number of the lots on Diverty, there was not a clear path to a reserve septic system, and that if their primary septic system encountered issues, that they would have a much bigger issue. And so, as part of our settlement with both Lennar and their settlement with ELSA, we reserved a certain amount of sewer capacity, and we worked with Lennar, because some of that disruption affected the Diverty residents, to bring in 3 public utilities to Diverty Road. And so nothing from the Lennar development is expected to impact or exacerbate it from a stormwater runoff. They need to control all of the existing water on that site, and that's what's been reviewed by our experts as well as the planning board. And so, it was in recognition of a number of factors. I've looked I'll only speak for myself, but I look at the runoff that comes off the ShopRite parking lot, and it flows down to the eastern half of Diverty. I think that's part of the issue, and that's why we've been working. One of the pilot projects the watershed has proposed is, can we capture some of that stormwater and help those homeowners in those lots? It would be a demonstration project of how do we start to meet the next generation stormwater provisions. But I hope that answers the question.
Well, and let me just add to that. I want to be clear. Nothing that Lennar did anything to the Diverty residents. Lennar had to get sewers to its new project. Those sewers are going to go right past Diverty Road. So Lennar built an extra sewer line that the Diverty Road residents could hook up into if they have failing septics. That's the only connection.
But the building of Lennar, is that the 1,100 unit place?
This is the connections. It's the Lennar development behind ShopRite.
Okay, because it increases the concrete footprint of that.
But that's not what, that doesn't have anything to do.
It doesn't,
with
okay.
it, no.
That's what I'm asking.
This is, there was a new sewer line going in. Diverty has traditionally had failing septics or difficulty with their septics. So this was an opportunity to allow people with failing septics to hook in, since there would be a new line adjacent.
So as for the traffic light at Forge, Ms. Burkhead, could you please follow up with Lawrence Township and find out where we are? Last I heard, they were awaiting DOT permitting, which, as you mentioned, because it's so close to 295, the DOT permitting is required, which is the federal DOT, because it's by an interstate. So if you wouldn't mind following up on that so we can have an update for our next meeting, I would appreciate it. I have been in touch with the mayors of Lawrence and Ewing on this issue. Mr. Bird, I'm sorry that you were not in here. We talked about this at length, about the plans and Federal City and Bull Run and the difficulties. But I am in frequent communication with both townships, and so is our administrator and township engineer. As for a yield sign on 295, we'll review what you're saying. That would be, if it's on 295, that would be the federal DOT's jurisdiction. So we can talk with Ms. Burkhead about what potential solutions are there. I want to just make one comment about the resident of Pennington Borough. The referendum has nothing to do with the pilots. The referendum, especially question 1, is all about maintenance, HVAC systems, roofs on existing buildings. It has nothing to do with pilots. It has nothing to do with growth in the township. You also mentioned some statistics from 2023 when none of the units in Hopewell Park were built yet. So I think your numbers might be a little off. Okay, so that ends the, please.
May I also make a couple of comments about the pilot issue? The 2010 report, I'm very familiar with it. The state controller introduced it on August 18th, 2010 in the Christie administration. There have been 2 administrations, both the Christie administration and the Murphy administration, who have chosen not to act on those recommendations. The fact that they have not acted on those recommendations to me is telling. The other thing is, it's very easy to throw around the $16.1 million figure. That is 53% of the annual Hopewell Township budget. $16.1 million is a lot of money, and we are providing it to the schools. And I would just like people to keep in mind that we are providing that voluntarily, $16.1 million. It seems that that is continually dismissed by critics of the pilot and by critics of the township.
Okay, so with that, we will go into our executive session. We have the topics tonight are litigation and real estate. We will not be taking formal action after executive. Could I have a motion to go into executive, please? And a second?
Second.
Whereas it is necessary for the Township Committee to discuss real estate, legal, contract negotiations, and/or personnel matters, and whereas NJSA 10:4-12 permits the Township Committee to conduct a meeting from which the public is excluded in order to discuss such matters, and whereas the time, when, and circumstances under which discussion conducted in executive session may be disclosed to the public is when appropriate. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hopewell, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, that the Township Committee shall forthwith conduct an executive session to discuss the above. Be it further resolved that the scope of the aforesaid executive session will be limited to the above matters as stated. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Thank you all for coming.